Well, hello, Clutter Warrior. Today, we're going to be talking about tasks, and specifically the idea that every task has a beginning and an end. That's what makes it a task. So often, I think people will say, maybe you have done this, oh, I'm working on a project, when in fact, you're not really working on a project at all. You're doing something that probably recurs. And instead of viewing it as a finite starting place and a finite ending place, in your mind, it's this ongoing thing. So, for example, reconciling your checkbook or doing your taxes. Sometimes people think of that as like, oh, I'm working on my taxes. I'm doing a project. But what you're really doing is just keeping track of your money. And that isn't what defines a project is a clear beginning and a clear end, just like with a task, right? So if you think of a task as a micro project, when we think of folding the laundry, that's a task. It doesn't matter that you do laundry every week or every couple of weeks. Folding the laundry is its own animal. It starts with a bunch of clothes that are clean, not folded. It ends when all the clothes are folded and put away wherever they live. That's the full arc of that task. Often we create clutter by leaving leaving tasks unfinished. We don't get to the end of it. We're going to come back to this idea of projects because there's something there to unpack. And let's just be super clear about the task thing. So you want to start it and you want to finish it. Ideally, you want to start it and finish it at one time. Some tasks have multiple steps involved in them. So if we think of reupholstering the chairs, that actually is a project, not a task. So reupholstering the chairs actually involves multiple tasks. The project is the arc, the task is each individual step. So the first task is measuring the chairs. The second task is removing the fabric from the chair. Measuring that is another task. Then going to buy new fabric and having it cut to the correct size is another task. Then reapplying it to the chairs is another task. When all of those individual tasks are done, you've completed the project of reupholstering the chairs. Sometimes we get stuck because we look at the project, which is not a task, and think, oh, I have to reupholster the chairs. I need to budget time to do that. But you don't take into consideration all of the steps that are actually the tasks that need to be done. So in your mind, I don't have enough time to reupholster the chair, so I'm not going to start, as opposed to chunking it up into its bite-sized individual tasks. Then, when it comes to removing the fabric from the chairs, for example, that's one task. And when that's complete, you've actually completed the task. Now, my suggestion to you would be not to start that individual task, get the fabric off of 2 of the 4 chairs or 4 of the 8 chairs, and then stop. It would be better to remove the fabric from all 8 chairs and then be complete with that. So whether it's doing the laundry and leaving the laundry in the basket on the floor of your bedroom, or it's starting to reupholster the chairs and not finishing that, we want to make sure that when we approach a task, we are approaching it start to finish. It's helpful also to use a timer so that you budget a certain amount of time. Now, when it comes to something that you've not done ever, or you've not done recently, it could be that you can't really guesstimate how long it will take you to remove the fabric from the chairs, in which case the suggestion would be to use a stopwatch rather than a timer, so that we quantify, oh, that's how long it takes me to remove the fabric from one chair. So now if there's 8 chairs, I need 7 more of that amount of time. Do I have that now, or do I want to do them one at a time? If it takes you 7 minutes to remove the fabric from the chair, do I need 7 times 7, because we already did one, So if there's 8 chairs, now I need 7 more 7 minutes. Do I have 49 minutes available to myself to do this? Or do I need to work in 7-minute increments 7 times over the next 2 days? The math is going to help you to budget for the time and also get you out of your head and that story around like there's not enough time. You just need 7 minutes to remove it from a chair. Ideally, it'd be great to do all 49 minutes in one batch, because then you could check it off your list, then move the project forward. So now let's talk about projects. Projects also have a clear beginning and an end. They typically have a budget and that timeline of we're going to start here and we're going to end it here. It's helpful when you are planning out projects to chunk everything up that needs to be done to complete the project. And then to recognize that things like paying your bills or keeping track of your money is not a project. It's the administration of your life. So to stop thinking of it as if it were going to have an end, because as long as you continue to have money and you continue to have expenses and some form of income, right, whether it's earned income off of investments or income that you earn off of your labor or both, those things will continue to happen until you stop working and leave the planet, die, right? I mean, you'll continue to earn money, whether it's Social Security here in the United States or any other sort of income that you might get anywhere else in the world or from the government, as well as any retirement accounts, all of those things, right? That's all income. So changing how you view that around keeping track of your money and not thinking of it as a project, and really starting to recognize when I'm talking about a project, and by I mean you, when you are talking about a project, we're looking at what starts and what finishes. If it's ongoing, it's just the maintenance of your life, it isn't a project, and it doesn't serve you to think of it through the lens of trying to manage a project. You want to focus really on, I need a certain amount of time every week to just take care of the maintenance of my life and my home, if you know, wherever you're living. So that's 3 things that we've covered basically in this episode: is tasks, beginning and an end. Tasks are typically the sub pieces of a project, and a project also has a beginning and an end. Ongoing life maintenance does not have a clear beginning and an end. So budgeting time for that is different than budgeting time for a project and different from budgeting time for a task. Make sure as often as possible that when you start a task, you have adequate time to finish the task, so that working in those quantities of time using your timer becomes the benchmark for success. You set the timer for 15 minutes, you get the task completed. You set the timer for 22 minutes, right? I mean, you know how you will find out how long it takes you to fold the laundry. And then that will become, I need 22 minutes to fold the laundry and put the laundry away. Great. So that's how much time we need to set aside. That's how much time we need. And now you did what you said you were going to do. So failure breeds failure, success breeds success. Last time you tried to do the laundry, you didn't finish, you left it on the floor in your bedroom. The next time you attempt to do it, you've got a story that says, oh, like I don't ever have enough time to put the laundry away, which we both know is probably one of your 200 lies, and you just haven't set aside adequate time for it. So it's relatively simple, not always easy because of story. And once you start to think of things in bite-sized bits and chunking them up, and this also applies obviously to any of your decluttering efforts, as well as maintaining your home and keeping things tidy, is getting them tidy. You don't have to get organized all at one time. You can easily set a timer for 15 minutes, do what you can do, and then move on. So that's what I wanted to cover today. Thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to being back with you again real soon.